this first episode of Sound Builders, we will explore the construction and inspiration behind Peaking Lights, a duo made up of Aaron Koyas and Indra Dunas, who left the Bay Area a couple of years ago for Madison, Wisconsin. Their music is made up of floating electronic pulses, controlled feedback, tape loops, synths, and vocal harmonies. Many of their sounds are generated by Aaron's creations, constructed out of old, refound, and reused stereo parts, clock radios, and other assorted consumer electronics.
How you doing? I have been making music for a long time and building synthesizers for a long time, or things that are similar to synthesizers, but maybe not what people would recognize as synthesizers.
He makes these really organic sounding machines, and like he said, like you don't always know what's going to come out of it.
I've just been making noise and things go off in my head and this noise happens in my head and it's I don't know.
It's not like you buy this instrument and you're like, it's got these different sounds with the different buttons. You know, everything is kind of like, if you have this lever go this much and move the other lever a little bit like this, so you get this one sound, and then you hope you can create it again, but you might not.
So you guys want to see the basement? This is usually where I work. In the mid to late 90s, I just started messing around with tapes and recording onto little 1/4-inch tapes and cutting those tapes into tape loops. Slowly from that, I started opening up different things, pedals. I had a pedal that broke and I just opened it up and started touching points. It wasn't an immediate kind of process.
Do you go dumpster diving for any of your stuff, or is it just on the street?
Or in thrift stores or things like that. If I'm going out and I want to build something and I have something specific in mind that I want to build, of course I will always look for the most variables. I need more of the components that change the sound than the components that create the sound. I'm picking up on the waste of what consumer culture is just throwing away. I mean, it's garbage to a lot of people. But to me, I'm building something that I find a relationship, or that I can give to someone else that will also find a relationship with it and be able to use it for something that they want to put into their aspect of creation. I'm not trying to just be a consumer, I'm trying to participate in the act of how energy flows.
What kind of stuff is it going to be in there?
Well, I'd really like to at least try and pull out some of these sliders and maybe a little bit of the board. It might just end up being a mess, but that's okay too. So now we're going to try and build this board into it. So basically I took one point and connected one point to here, and I'm going to try and use the circuitry in here to damper the sound a little bit or have more control. So usually what I'll do is, if I'm doing this, I'll play around with the sound, with the variables until I get something. So I kind of like that just because it has a little bit more play in the, as far as the tones are going.
How do you decide which points to contact?
It's all chance.
But do you know which?
No, it's all trial and error.
Nothing at all.
Yeah. Sometimes I get careless and will actually have something in my mouth that shouldn't be, like a live wire. You know, it never feels good to have 110 volts go into your skull, but closer to the end of when I'm building, or once I get into the zone or the vibe that the machine starts giving off, then I'll just crank it. All right, you might want to plug your ears for a sec, sorry.
Very sensitive ears.
Oh, there it is.
Once it gets to a certain volume, then I can add more subtle things. Maybe the what you mainly hear is a real low end, but then you can kind of bring in a higher end aspect.
Right now, Aaron is creating some kind of monstrosity downstairs. No, Aaron's creating a beautiful new machine. Aaron building these synths is something that I don't really totally understand, and I'm just up here hanging out doing my thing, and he's downstairs making these noises for hours and hours, and at the end, you know, we've got something new to jam with, and you know, it's cool. Him inserting those sounds is like, it's like his voice coming into it, and you know, it makes it into something different than just like a you know, kind of straightforward, you know, keyboards and guitar song. You know, it's like it's got this whole other layer, and it actually ends up being, you know, layer after layer after layer of sounds.
We haven't seen this for a while. What happened?
It's kind of minimal
Yeah.
in the setup. So I basically destroyed what was in here and put it in here. There were the two pedals. One thing that was left was the circuit board. So I took the circuit board out, a drum machine, and then a clock radio, and then there's a bunch of components from random other electronics.
Yeah, let's air it out.
All right.
Let's hear it do its thing.
Let's see if we can get it back to that pulse. There we go. All right, so which one's that? Which one's that? That one is, that one's this one.
Yeah. So that's volume. Input.
If I was going to use this and actually playing music and peaking lights, I might pull a sound out of it and then record that sound and just let it just roll with a specific sound. To the end is being able to make something that doesn't necessarily have to be a formula, but has to fit in dynamically to the songs that are being created.